Greetings, culture lovers. Sorry, I just had to do a bit of Stanley. This is D22 with you from D22 Responses and another How to Use series. Now, this is going to be a tutorial on how to get rid of the black bars for videos. Now, one of the things that I've been asked a lot is how do you get rid of those annoying black bars when you have like a video that's 4:3 aspect ratio and you want to have it like full widescreen? I'm going to show you how to do it in three types of software. I'm going to show you how to do it in Vegas Pro, CyberLink Power Director, and Windows Movie Maker. Now, this is generally the same as any other kind of editing software that you have, so please pay attention closely to the settings that I'm going to be explaining to you here. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up first Vegas Pro 10, or this also applies for Vegas Pro 11 and all that. So it's very much the same in Vegas and Windows Movie Maker and CyberLink Power Director. So we're first going to do the Vegas software. So we're just going to wait until everything loads up here. Honky dory, peach king, honky doody, yankee doodle. Okay, I'm getting a little weird. I need to get out more. Actually, I do get out more, so wiener. Anyways, thought I'd wake you up there, fans. Anyways, moving on. So we got our template open here. What we're going to do is we are going to import one of our videos in here. So let's pick something that, say, has black bars. So this is a video of one of my friends, Sean Storm. Look at this. What do you know? This video has black bars. Now, you're probably asking, how do I get rid of these? This is so annoying. This is so old school YouTube. In Vegas, what you do is you click on this little tiny box that says Event, Pan, and Crop. So what you do is you click here, and then it gives you a crop window. Now what you do is you look through the presets, and then through the presets you will see 4:3 standard TV aspect ratio, which is what we have right now, and also 16:9. Now notice this picture to the right here as I change it. Now you still see black bars because this is a direct upload from YouTube, but what you can do to make it even cropped more is you can take this point in Vegas and bring it in closer so that it totally gets rid of the black boxes, and you can position it however you want so that it gives you a clean crop. This is one way to do it in Sony Vegas Pro. Now this is one way that I find is the very easiest way to crop your videos. Now your picture may look a little distorted when you crop it like this, but it gives you the full screen experience. So I would recommend using this unless you want to have the full screen experience, so that way drop my microphone there. Sorry about that loud noise. But this allows you to have the full screen experience when you upload to your YouTube channel. So what you would do is you would save it as normal, render it, and Bob's your uncle. So what we'll do is we'll close out of this, and we're not going to save, so we're going to close out of Sony Vegas. And what we're going to do next is we're going to open up CyberLink Power Director so that we can have a different perspective of it. So I'm not going to buy it. I'm just going to try it. I know I have 7 days left, so we're just going to make these last 7 days count. So we're opening up CyberLink Power Director right now, and we are going to show you how to do the same thing that I just showed you in CyberLink Power Director. So now what we are going to do is we are just waiting on this, and we're going to open up the same movie, because that's the only movie that I have that has 4:3 or black boxes. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the Import Media folder and go Import Media Files, and then it'll bring up your Files window, and then what you do is I'm going to find that same video again. So I'm going to go to my downloads, and then I'll go back to my boy Sean Storm's video. So then we're going to open that up, and then the same thing will be here. Now notice that this will have what's called an aspect ratio conflict. It says here the aspect ratio of the clip you are dragging to workspace is 4:3. Your project setting is 16:9. It is highly recommended that you change your project aspect ratio setting to 4:3. Do you want to change it now? This is the sort of thing that CyberLink Power Director will detect, because it usually works with the best aspect ratio of your clip. So what you see here is that it's 4:3, but then it prompts you to use 16:9 unless you want it to do something else. So let's say if you clicked OK, here's what would happen. It would go to the editor, but what would happen is that you would have to crop it down. like this, and then that wouldn't really work properly. So you would just have black boxes all over, and it just wouldn't look right. So what you would do is you would just set the defaults on it. You would just refresh the settings, and then you got to space it properly like this. Because the thing is, you have to make sure that when you're working with a video, everything is seen. So you have to make sure that your cropping settings relate to your project, because what you would need to do here is you would need to set the project to 16.9 aspect ratio. Now it's pretty tough to do here because you have a 4:3 file, but you want to crop it down to widescreen. What you would necessarily do, let's say we're going to close this project. So we're going to go new project, and we're not going to save this one. What we have here is 16:9 aspect ratio of a picture. As you notice, it's widescreen. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the same movie again, and we're going to see if we can convert it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here, and then we right click on the clip item in the timeline. So let's go to set aspect ratio, and usually what it's set to is to detect aspect ratio automatically. So it basically detects, yeah, the new HD formats of widescreen, blah 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 blah. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the aspect ratio to 16:9, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go to use CLPV to stretch clip. So what we're going to do is we're going to go stretch it. Now it stretches it accordingly. So that's what CyberLink Power Director looks like when you're cropping something. Now this doesn't really answer the question. So what does it mean when you want to set something that's 4:3 to a proper aspect ratio? Now if we go into the properties, the resolution that it gives us is 480 by 360. And most people have this sort of format where they can film in this resolution. Most of their computers can't handle it. But as far as I know, the CyberLink Power Director program detects the resolution and sets it to there. Because if you stretch it to 4:3 or 16:9 screen resolution, your picture's going to be very, very grainy. So let's go over here. And let's say that the picture that we went to, we stretched as best as we could, and it still doesn't give us the same result. It doesn't give us the same result because, as you can see here, the clip is still at 4:3, but it's not stretched out properly. So you would use these to stretch it out, and you would get rid of the black boxes there. But when you upload it to YouTube, it'll still appear, and you can rotate it. So that's one other way that you can do it. You would go 100% there to measure the fit. So my estimation is that the CyberLink Power Director won't allow you to stretch it any further than it should, but we're going to see how we can do. So we're going to go set aspect ratio again, and then basically the project aspect ratio is 4:3, and then we're going to go to apply video clips, and it usually gives you that. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to see if it stretches it properly. Nope, it doesn't. So you have to make sure that your file is at least 1280 by 720. That's the maximum resolution it'll go so that you can go widescreen. It doesn't work if you have a clip that's smaller. So I'm sorry if this discourages you, but that's how the program works. So we're going to go no for that. And finally, what we're going to do is we're going to go into Windows Live Movie Maker to see if we can stretch it like we did in Sony Vegas. So we're going to go to Windows Live Movie Maker, and this is the generic program that a lot of editors have when they're starting out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the same video again to see if we can crop it down to what we want. So we're going to go to the Downloads video folder and then go back to Everyone Needs Love, because everyone needs love basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a certain point of the video right here, and we still see the black boxes. Now this is the thing that annoys people the most. So what we'll do is we're going to see if we can find it in View. And then there's the aspect ratio button. So it's right now on standard. Let's see what happens when we click widescreen. Now, it expands the screen, but it really doesn't make a difference in regards to getting rid of the black boxes. You have even bigger black boxes now. So what we're going to do is you would go, that's the zoom in function, so that you can get the time. Basically, in this program, I don't believe you're able to set it like that, because to get rid of the black boxes, you'd have to crop it down to a size where only the yellow portion shows. So I'm afraid you need at least a 1280 by 720 file in order for you to get the widescreen. So if you have a file that's 480 by 720 and you set it as widescreen, you're going to get the black boxes regardless. And I'm sorry if that isn't the best answer, but it is the best answer that I could give you because your video file resolution is so small. Whereas if you set it to the proper aspect ratio, it's so big. So you have to make sure that your file is at least 1280 by 720. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the home media folder, and then we're going to add another video, and then we're going to set a video. We're going to get a video that's basically at least 1280 by 720. So we're going to set Aiden Crocker TV. Now this is Aiden Crocker TV if you don't know, and we're going to go to where it says View, and then we're setting the aspect ratio to 69, and look at that, it gets rid of the bars because his video is the acceptable format for most HD functions. Because if you set it to standard, you're going to get those black boxes because it crops it down to at least 4:3 aspect ratio. So what you have here, if you set it by 4:3, is not going to work. So you have to make sure that your aspect ratio is widescreen and that your video file isn't necessarily widescreen. So the best way that you can do widescreen without having to do all this is through Sony Vegas, where you can crop it down to the widescreen size. So that's basically a wrap-up of how you can get rid of the black bars. You have to make sure that your file is at least 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080 or any sort of file that goes 16:9 aspect ratio. You cannot do another file in those two programs, or etc. You can do that in Sony Vegas, but your picture will degrade. So that's the only thing that I can say. You have to make sure that your file is at least the right file size, and then it'll work. So I think that helps. Get fueled for life, and I'll respond to you another time. Bye-bye.